Good morning, students. Welcome for this second lecture from paper applications of botany, in which today we are going to study another important aspect from applications of botany, and that is floriculture industry. In this topic, we are going to discuss introduction to floriculture, important floricultural crops, open cultivation practices, and one of the important floricultural crop which is used for open cultivation practice, that is tuberose, its harvesting and marketing. Then greenhouse technology, concept, advantages and the limitations, and another greenhouse crop, that is gerbera, its harvesting and marketing. Let's discuss about what is floriculture. Floriculture is nothing but the flower forming. Flori means flower and it's a culture. This is one of the discipline of horticulture which is concerned with cultivation of commercially important cut flower producing plants, in which also ornamental plants as well as marketing of cut flowers, live plants and their economic products like essential oils, medicines and preserves. This all comes under the floriculture. So this part, floriculture, involves cultivation of flowers, and this can be done by three ways, either in protected environment or semi protected environment or in field condition or the open condition. Just have a look on global floriculture outlook. Here this pie chart gives you the idea about the floricultural outlook. Here you can observe that Netherlands is the largest floriculture or flower producing country, and it is about 52% of the world flower production. Next to this is Colombia, and another that is Ecuador, Kenya, Belgium, and other that are the Malaysia, Italy, Germany, Israel, and remaining are the other countries. But Netherlands is the world's largest floricultural crops industry or country. Just have a look on some of the important flower crops commercially grown in greenhouse. As we have seen in the last slide, that flowers can be cultivated either protected environment or in semi protected environment or in open cultivation. So many of the times for better yield, flowers are commercially grown in greenhouse. Like here I have shown you the 8 diagrams in which tulip, okay, this is one of the beautiful flower, and you might have heard about this tulip show. Next one, that is a chrysanthemum. In Marathi we call it as a Shevanti. Gerbera is another one of the beautiful flower used for bouquet. Then fourth one, that is a daylily. Then another important component of the bouquet, floral bouquet, that is carnation, and important and costly flower, that is orchid, and the king of flowers, you might have known about king of flower, that is rose. Then these are the some photos of the floricultural crops that can be cultivated in open area, in which marigold, or we call it as a tagetus in Marathi, we call it as a jendu. Then gladiolus, this is also The word gladiolus come from the gladiator. Gladiator means you have uh, gone through that picture, that is gladiator, because the arrangement of flowers is looking like the gladiator. That's why the name is given gladiolus. Then callisteppus, another one, that is a china aster. Tuberose, it's marketing, harvesting, we are going to study in detail. And another one, that is a gaillardia. This is from which marigold and gaillardia are common in our area, as well as the tuberose is also common. These are also another beautiful flowers of some open as well as the greenhouse cultivated floral crops. There are three main classes of cut flowers for their marketing as well as their export. One is single flower or the flower bud, in which rose, carnation, tulips, and lotus, these are used for commercial cultivation as a single flower, or sometimes they are used as a floral buds. At the time of Valentine Day, you are familiar with the value of a single rose, that is with its big stalk. Then carnations and tulips also. Then another class of the cut flower, that is whole inflorescence as a cut flower, in which aster, then zinnia, gerbera, dahlia, marigold, and sunflower are used. And the third and last crop of cut flowers, in which floral shoots as cut flowers are used, in which the gladiolus, delphinium, that is nilambari, then orchid, goldenrod, blue daisy, and chrysanthemum are used as a floral shoots. Let's have a look on commercially important open field cultivated crop, and that is tuberose. Here these two diagrams or photos, beautiful photos I have given, in which one is in field condition and another photo is its with its inflorescence. Its botanical name is Polyanthus tuberosa, commonly known as a gulchadi or tuberose or nishigandha. It belongs to family Amaryllidaceae. There are four cultivars of this tuberose or Polyanthus tuberosa, and they are namely single, double, semi-double, and variegated. These are the different varieties that are commonly cultivated in different parts of India as well as the abroad. In Srinagar, then another, that is Suhasini, then Swarna Rekha, Single Mexican, and Rajat Rekha. So for open cultivation of this tuberose, there is a need to use different cultivation practices, in which soil is important parameter. For open field cultivation of tuberose, there is a need of a sandy loam or clay loam soil that is good or well drained with good aeration. It can be grown in any type of a soil, but this type of soils are useful for good yield. Economic point of view, when we are considered as a it's a floriculture, then there is a need to use the specific soil and also to maintain the soil pH. So for tuberose, soil pH should be 6.5 to 7.5 in field condition. If we are going to cultivate in pot, then we have to use the 2:1:1 ratio of garden soil, farm yard manure, and leaf mold. Another important factor for the cultivation is climate. So it can be grown in tropical, subtropical, and temperate region. But average temperature for its growth or good yield is 25 to 35 degrees Celsius. Also it needs high humidity up to 68 to 86 percentage, and for flower bud initiation need of 19.3 degrees Celsius temperature. So this is the bulb of tuberose, and the second diagram gives you idea about the open field cultivation of this tuberose. Then another important part for its cultivation is planting. How this plant is propagated, or in field how we can plant it. So propagation is by bulbs as well as the bulblets. You have studied the bulbs, okay, onion bulb, you are familiar with that term in vegetative propagation methodologies. One of them, that is the bulb, and here the tuberose can be cultivated with the help of a bulb or bulblets. Larger bulbs enhance the early flowering as well as the higher yield. There should be a diameter of 2 to 3 centimeter for its bulb, and the planting of bulb at 6 centimeter depth in sandy loam soil can initiate good sprouting, and plantation is preferably done in July and August, whereas in hilly region it can be taken earlier in February to March, as there is a higher humidity because of its hilly environment. And for plantation in the field, we have to keep 20 to 30 centimeter distance between the two rows and 10 to 20 centimeter between the bulbs, so that each bulb can get the good place for its growth. Then propagation, as its common method for propagation is bulb with 2 centimeter diameter, but seeds are also used for its propagation, but seeds cannot germinate easily. Sometimes by division method, means by using of bulb segments, means any larger bulb can be divided into the smaller bud segment, that can be also used for its cultivation. After plantation, important is its fertigation, and we know that the requirement, okay, normal requirement of plant growth, that is NPK. So here a specific proportion 200 as to 50 as to 70 uh, grams of this NPK ratio should be maintained, and superphosphate at 60 gram per meter increases the flower as well as the life of flowers, means size of flower is also increased with the help of superphosphate. Instead of this, as open cultivation we are using, it also creates some deficiencies. So nitrogen deficiency results in reduction of number of spike, and flower becomes pale green, and sometimes the foliage also pale green because of nitrogen deficiency. Cracking of inflorescence is occurred because of calcium deficiency, and interveinal chlorosis of leaves result of Mg deficiency. After fertigation, for every plant there is a need of water. So important factor for cultivation is irrigation. So it is necessary to give water before and after planting in the field. But it is necessary to avoid the irrigation until the bulbs have sufficiently sprouted, as the bulb itself is a stored food material for its initial growth. After 2 months of sprouting, field should be irrigated at an interval of 7 days. As per the season, irrigation should be varied, as in summer there is a need of irrigation after 5 to 7 days, and in winter because of higher humidity there is an interval of 10 to 20 days, 10 to 12 days is necessary. Frequency of irrigation should be increased for high yield. Frequency with respect to consistency. Frequency is not mean that you are using daily watering and so on, so it gives you a good yield. It is not like that. So there is a proper rotation should be maintained. Then, as this is a 3-month crop, some varieties are 120 days or some varieties are 100 days depending upon their nature of release. So after 3 months of planting, the plants are or the flowers are ready to be harvested. Okay. At which step we have to harvest them? The spike, as inflorescence of these tuberose is a spike, so we have to harvest with 1-2 pairs of florets open, and that are basal. You may remember basal 1 to 2 florets when open, we can harvest the cut flowers from the field. Then we have to cut the whole spike from the plant as a cut flower, and individual florets are cut at full maturity for oil extraction or loose flowers. Depending upon what type of our aim, either we are using cut flower or single flower, or we are using for its other products. Depending upon that, harvesting varies. Okay. There is 15 to 25 tons of flower production per hectare is observed as proper conditions are maintained. The length of that cut flower stalk should be 75 centimeter, as it gives you a good market value. And for cutting or harvesting, early morning time is preferable because there is a low temperature, and that can be useful for increasing its shelf life. Immediately after cutting, we have to transfer them into the water. And if we have to transport for long distance, then the harvesting should be with green bird or greenish white birds can be done. In 100 days or 120 days crop, 3 to 4 crops or 3 to 4 times cut flower we can observe. After harvesting, it is important to make its grading depending upon its market value. So for marketing, grading should be done as straight long stem with uniform length and stage of development. So flowers, they are graded as per the length of spike, length of flowering, number of flower, and quality of flower. In each bundle, 50 to 100 spikes are arranged, and this bundle is wrapped into the wet newspaper, and this bundle is packed in cardboard box. These spikes are sold in market on number of dozen basis. Here are the two photos I have shown, that packaging, how it is observed or how it can be done. Here these fellows are grading that cut flowers. Loose flowers, they are packed in bamboo basket, about 10 to 15 kg. They are with 4 to 6 days shelf life. And in the second photo, you can observe that how they are wrapped for the long distance traveling or long distance exporting, and cardboard box is also used. When at local market we are using, then its vast life should be considered. So for this 70-degree Celsius temperature, uh, 7 degrees Celsius temperature, it can be remain good for 5 to 7 days, and its shelf life can be increased by keeping them in 2% sucrose and 200 ppm aluminum sulfate solution. Sometimes ascorbic acid, that is vitamin C, and sucrose also maintains its freshness. Prolonged shelf life can be also by using 8% sucrose and pulsing of spikes with 4% glucose solution. So all these practices can be increase its shelf life, and if that crop is going to be um, delivered in market after long time. After studying all the parameters, we must know what is the economic importance of this tuberose, as these are sweet, fragrant flowers and with long shelf life. These single flowers can be used as garlands or floral bouquets, sometimes buttonholes, or in bridal makeup, table decoration. These tuberose can be grown in wasteland where high salt and alkali content is there. So wasteland can be converted into the baseland. Tuberose oil is one of the most valuable and the expensive raw material used in perfumes. And this oil can be used as a flavoring material for candies, beverages, and some baked food items, ice creams, ice candies, etc. It also acts as a stimulant as well as the sedative. Medicinally also tuberose is important as it contains hecogenin and tegogenin steroid saponins, but alkaloid lycorin in bulb cause vomiting. Bulbs are also diuretic and emetic. Flowers are used for antiseptic purpose. Some parts of Java island flowers are used in vegetable soup. Bulb powder in combination with turmeric powder and bulb, that is butter, uh, it can be used for red rashes of the infant, that are the small babies. They are also with anti plasmodic and anti-inflammatory activity. Oil which is obtained from the flower is source of geraniol, benzyl alcohol, methyl benzoate and number of aromatic sources. Here how these commercially important plants can be cultivated and used in different parts, as India is bestowed with wide variety of flowers, wide variety of environment and wide variety of religions. So it at every religion there is a need of different types of flowers as they are with religious value. So marketing, proper marketing and its proper cultivation can be a good business for the newcomers. So this is all about the floriculture industry, which is nothing but the part of a horticultural branch where we have to cultivate the flowers, either they are cut flowers or the single flowers. And marketing and harvesting of tuberose we have studied in detail. For there again need of a specific cultivation practices in which soil, then irrigation, then temperature and propagation methods are necessary. And the last point, that is harvesting and marketing. Proper harvesting and proper marketing by identifying the need of a market or market value, market time should be considered for taking any type of a floricultural crop. In next lecture we go for greenhouse studies and the crop which is used or commercially grown in greenhouse, that is gerbera. Next lecture I am coming with that points. So today, thank you for listening this important aspect from floriculture industry. Thank you.